Drawing lessons from the Turkey and Syria earthquake that has led to loss of thousands of lives and destruction of property, we examine one of the proactive earthquake risk reductions, and that is infrastructure. Uganda remains seismically vulnerable to earthquakes given its location in the East African Rift Valley. Although Uganda has experienced several earthquakes, the most recent one is the 2016 earthquake that measured a magnitude of 5.7, and this needs to serve as a timely reminder that there is real need for proactive earthquake preparedness. The first thing to look at is the strength of our building infrastructure, and according to professional engineers, having earthquake-resistant buildings is key.
Resistance to an earthquake, you can say high-rise buildings are more prone, and the design engineers will always take this into consideration. The buildings which are very weak in Kampala, you see they have not even had to wait for an earthquake.
Government of Uganda has put in place laws to ensure that all buildings are safe, and one of the legislations is the Building Control Act of 2013. However, adherence to procedures and standards is still a big challenge, and a number of buildings have collapsed even before completion.
But in Uganda, as you can see, the whole aspect of having a regulator for the building industry shows that the government also takes the issue of strong construction. It's also a political priority. So there is an enabling law, there is a regulation, but some of the bad things which normally happen, which the regulator and other players have been trying to get on top of, is again looking ahead. Yeah? So that when you have a design, if it's a design for Kampala, before it is approved, the design engineer, the structural engineer must take into consideration how has case of, say, extreme cases like earthquakes been taken care of. So you put a margin of safety, a factor of safety.
But in some cases, we have also had to, unfortunately, tell builders to pull down structures at certain levels and say, this cannot proceed beyond here unless you break down to this extent and rebuild according to this now.
One of the procedures of ensuring a strong building is soil investigation that then informs the type of foundation.
Soil is generally very different. You can see that this one is also different from this one and different from this one. All this type of soil is different in nature and they affects differently the structures.
To this effect, there are both government and private material testing laboratories.
Different soils have different challenges. They can be expansive soils, whereby we design for a different foundation. They can be collapsible soils. How do we design for those collapsible soils? All this can be informed as a result of carrying out geotechnical investigations. We have quite a number of problematic soils that require specific designs or specialized skills and calculations to solve the problems that may arise out.
Testing construction materials is also important.
This concrete block, concrete cube, we test it here. After testing here, it will give us the class of strength that is being currently used on a building. So people putting up structures, arcades, high-rise buildings, it is very important to know the quality of the concrete and the strength class of concrete so as to avoid the failure of the structure.
The supervision of buildings in Kampala is done by Kampala Capital City Authority, while in other local authorities, the head of engineering takes up the task. It is therefore prudent for responsible supervisory authorities to ensure that developers adhere to the required construction procedures and standards are followed for the safety of the people. I'm Nafka Farida and Adiana Kuti in Kampala.